A couple of key themes on the agri sector that we wanted to talk about from our experiences and our initiatives at FIDE, and as partners and with the background of Beacon Protocol coming in, we thought we'll talk about why this is an urgent need or initiative that we want to propagate, some of the technological pieces that are important, and I'll spend a few minutes setting the stage for what's coming up, right? We know that climate change and sustainability is at the forefront of everybody's future aspirations, and we know that agriculture will play one of the most sectoral roles in combating some of the problems there. Food security is not just an Indian problem, it's a global problem. Farmer incomes, at least in developing nations, are somewhat affected primarily due to rising input costs and leakages while revenue comes back to them. And to support this decrease in profitability for farmers, they tend to depend on other rural livelihood opportunities, in fact involving some of the other adults in their ecosystem. So a lot of this essentially means that as this problem worsens slowly, this needs a more collective solution than what is currently being developed, right? The technology is nascent, but it's already available. However, there seems to be a growing momentum in understanding that not a broad-based, one-size-fits-all solution will be able to solve all problems everywhere. It also needs collaborative solving, and therefore interoperable digital systems and solutions are the way forward. This is something that we've already experienced in other sectors in mobility and commerce and logistics, at least here in India, and it's growing in popularity across the world. But how can we accelerate that in the agricultural sector by doing new things in a new way is what we're trying to do. Ultimately, tech is not just in buying and selling things or finding information. Tech should also be involved in governance and public policy implementation. And therefore, finding ways to achieve such goals is where we're trying to move forward to. You'll obviously be asking, okay, if you've thought of all this, what are people doing? Let me give you 3 examples of what open network implementations are running, or at least at the stage of setting up in the agricultural sector. The first one is a hyperlocal pod. It's a very small farmer-led initiative. We're trying to set this up in Nashik in Maharashtra in India, where farmers coming together, pulling together their local systems and ecosystem partners, enabling them digitally, and then coming through to discover and access a variety of services, primarily around information, agricultural advisory, so on and so forth, but also around some of the inputs, specifically machinery rental, some of the credit inputs, and so on and so forth. So all of this eventually will create a very robust ecosystem where farmers are enabled and are able to get better returns for their efforts. This is probably going to be launched around December or early January next year. The second one is, I'll go a little away out of India and go to Kenya, where technology cannot really reach farmers at the speed that we're used to here, but they can reach agripreneurs or extension workers, right? If someone is able to enable those extension workers, and extension workers can then enrich farmers in their catchment area, that's going to be a huge impact. And that's what this organization called Kuza is doing. They are a great proponent of Beacon Protocol, and they're launching a network called One Network in Kenya with the blessing of their local governments. So this is another sort of very interesting initiative that's already gone live in a small pilot, but it's going to expand further throughout the country and its neighboring states. If the first 2 were ground-up initiatives, the third is a top-down sort of a system, where the Ministry of Agriculture and Farmers Welfare in India is trying to set up an advisory system for farmers called Vistar. It's trying to provide market information, agricultural good best practices, and weather information so that farmers are getting the right information at the right time, right? So all of this essentially forms an interoperable grid where multiple states are able to push together their information to all the other parts of the country. I've given you 3 independent sort of examples of where open networks are leading to in the agricultural sector. But is there a common thread that ties all of this together? This is essentially Open AgriNet, or the Alliance of Open AgriNet. This is a global DPI and AI in design fabric in order to build digital agricultural grids across the world. We see that these problems and patterns are common across various regions. While they have their own nuances, the implementation of those common patterns can be shared across the world, and therefore an Open AgriNet, which is affecting 600 million farmers and 1.3 billion people in the food systems, can definitely make an impact in both climate change and in improving the livelihoods of all of these people. Right? Obviously, the goal is to reduce silos, to make sure that lock-ins are reduced, and to increase the proliferation of this technology and the assistance that all of these technological systems are able to provide. The Open AgriNet was recently launched. You'll even find Mr. Nilekani's vision for it online now. We're trying to create a community that will create open source references for a lot of these initiatives. They'll put together tools, they'll put together playbooks, they'll put together observability and policy dashboards, therefore enabling a lot of the other participants to come in, start creating many more instances than the 3 I just gave earlier today. These are some of the toolkits that will be available pretty soon on the website. Happy to talk about this and hear and get collaboration from the people in the room and whoever you guys are investing in and talking to. Thank you very much.